Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life. And of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything.
Welcome to the third season of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And don't forget to catch up on any episodes from seasons 1 and 2 you might have missed. Today we're talking with Sara Diaz, a seasoned vocalist, producer, and creative professional. Trained in voice and performance from an early age, Sara grew up immersed in Broadway, big band, and jazz traditions. Though music was her earliest path, her career took her into fashion and television production, where she produced projects for international organizations, major brands, and cultural institutions. After many years focused on media production and family life, Sara returned to performing, rediscovering the stage through the vibrant music community of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Today, she performs regularly in cabaret and jazz settings, collaborating with David Geist and appearing with ensembles, including the Santa Fe Great Big Jazz Band and DuoDiaz. Sara's performances draw from the Great American Songbook, Broadway classics, and jazz standards, and are delivered with a soulful, blues-tinged interpretation shaped by a lifetime of storytelling and creative expression. Welcome, Sara, to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm so excited to talk with you about happiness and why it is so important in your life. How does it manifest for you?
Happiness manifests through gratitude. It's in every step, every breath. It's about being grateful for it all and being in the flow.
Oh, I love that. Being in the flow. Could you talk about that just a little bit more?
Sure. Well, when I was younger, as most young people do, you always want to keep pushing and pushing. And if something looks like it's not going to happen, you push further. And over the span of my career, I've learned that paying attention and being mindful to how things are moving is very important, because perhaps the universe is saving you from some disaster by not manifesting a certain this or that. And when things flow more smoothly, they usually end up working out for the best and highest good for all concerned. Did that answer
That is
your
so
question?
well. Yeah, that's so well put. I think for our listeners, the concept of being mindful, when I was younger, they used to say stay conscious, right? Be conscious of, but now the word is mindful. And I myself had to learn to be in the flow. Do you think that's something most people have to learn to do because of the way we're raised in this culture to be so competitive and to be so successful at whatever we do and all that?
I would have to say yes to that, and that, again, what I've learned is being collaborative is far more satisfying than being competitive. People tend to believe that the pie is finite and if you get a piece of the pie, then I don't get a piece of the pie. But I haven't found that to be an accurate assessment.
Interesting. Could you give us some examples in like your own world where collaboration is very successful and a better way of going about things?
Well, I've always worked in creative fields, and I've been very blessed in that way. I have found certainly in fashion, well, I think that understanding the history and the flow and working with your team always makes things a little more elevated. Certainly as a TV producer, I always had a team. You have camera people and writers and all manner of people on a set behind and in front of the camera. And rather than being completely, autocratic about things and saying it's my way or the highway, I've always found that eliciting opinion tends to elevate the project. If you're the writer, producer, the star, the director, the editor, and all of that, you have no outside input. Therefore, it's a very narrow vision. My objective is always to open that vision up to be expansive. Certainly with music, I've learned sometimes my bandmates would rather just be told what to do and how to do it, but when I elicit their input, it always ends up better and more satisfying.
Wow.
And that is what makes me happy.
Which is the name of this podcast, right? Happiness. Do you think that happiness is really important in life? Because I've actually asked some people to be on the podcast and they're not very happy and therefore they don't want to be on the podcast, or they don't really feel it's the most important or even that important in life.
I don't know if happiness per se is the most important thing in life, because a lot of times that is an external process. I think gratitude is where happiness begins. And I think that contentment perhaps is often confused with happiness. And it seems that being content with where you are and what you do is almost the key of happiness. Happiness always, and we agree on this, happiness is an inside job. Nobody can make you happy. And so searching outside of yourself ends up being a little bit of an exercise in futility. I had a friend who was miserable all the time, jealous of everything, walking around going grumbling and all of that. And I sat him down and said, you need a happiness and a gratitude practice. And we're sitting in my living room, and I'm like, tell me one thing that you're grateful for. Now, for me, I'm grateful I'm here. I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful that I woke up in the morning, et cetera, ad on infinitum. And he looked at me and said, well, I can't think of anything. And I looked him square in the eyes and said, you're sitting here with me. You're not grateful for that? And we had a little chuckle about it, but it was definitely a bit of a turning point in my, perspective on this friend who couldn't find gratitude. And if you can't find gratitude, then you've got the wrong attitude.
Right. It's funny. The wrong attitude is not for gratitude. Right. It's very interesting that so many people don't have the skills to turn things around. There's a lot of people today, considering what's going on in 2026 and in the United States and in the world, who are really having a rough time of it. And so to have a few skills How would you help someone learn or at least open themselves up to the concept of gratitude? I know you asked him and he couldn't think of anything. I'm assuming it was a him. Did you say him or her? I can't remember.
I said him and yes.
Yes.
And here's,
right.
I was just having a conversation with someone last night, sort of in this same vein. They were very distressed about everything going on and all this stuff, and we're all blah, blah, woof, woof. And I said, remember this, and this is my own quote, when the light shines more brightly, it illuminates the dark corners. So on the one hand, you need to get your broom out because we're seeing a lot of smuts, that means dirt, in the dark corners. And it's incumbent upon all of us to just, what do you do when you turn on the lights and the bugs scatter and the dirt is everywhere? You get out the broom and you sweep it out. That's step one. Okay? So the good news is that we're seeing stuff that has been going on for decades. The better news is that the light is shining more brightly. And that is what you become grateful for. And the gratitude is the attitude, and you just send that forth, and that brings happiness and joy.
And there are a lot of people who don't have money, for instance, or who don't have whatever success they supposedly should have in life and so forth, and they're very happy because it comes down to the relationships they have with other people. So
no, it's
I'm wondering
what they have with themselves.
Okay. Starts there with yourself, yeah. But then how about when you're relating to your family?
Well, you have been known to say happiness is an inside job, and that's one of the things that we connect on. If you don't have that gratitude and happiness in your heart, it's impossible to have an authentic sense of happiness. I will say this, Sandy, retrospection is 2020, and
yes.
I have observed, and also from an historical point of view, Madison Avenue has certainly sold the American populace the biggest lie of all. If you don't have this product that I'm selling, then you're just not it. If you don't have that, if you aren't rich and famous, that comes down to one word, then you are nothing. And that is not a fact. The fact is that we touch people on a one-to-one basis, and then they touch people, and they touch people, sort of like the butterfly effect. So that if I come from a place of gratitude and joy, I spread it naturally, and it goes to the next person, and they either think about it and embrace it or not. Everyone has their own path, and our lives are shaped by the choices we make. So you can choose to be grateful, or you can choose to be jealous, and choosing to be jealous gets you nowhere, and it puts you on a fast track to the nonsense of constantly having to work so you can have the stuff because Madison Avenue told you that you can't be cool without that watch or that car or whatever. And that's all. It's all about the stuff, and happiness never comes from the stuff. You can't fill that hole with stuff. You have to fill that hole with gratitude. And then we've agreed on this, and I've laid it out, gratitude.
Yeah.
What you already have elevates into happiness.
Right. And I'm interested in how love comes into this picture in your mind. I mean, I'm not talking about necessarily romantic love, but just love in general, because I do think that if you have my logo for this podcast is a heart with butterflies on it. And I took a trip to Bhutan and saw there a painting, and it was somewhat similar, where the open, happy heart with butterflies coming off the side of it was like a transitional phase, so that we can start to have a happy heart and that openness in your heart, I just think is really important. I'd be interested in your thoughts.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
That's a big one. And I have to say, I don't carry jealousy, but I got to say how fortunate and blessed you were to be able to go to Bhutan. It's one of the few places on the planet that I really still have in my bucket.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
As far as love goes, love is, again, we have been brainwashed, if you will, into believing that, if you don't have a lover on Valentine's Day, that something's wrong with you. But did you have groundhog on Groundhog's Day?
Right.
Again,
Yes.
It gets back to the gratitude practice. If I am grateful in my heart, that means that I am embracing love. Agape love for everything and everybody. And you don't have to like someone in order to bestow a universal love. You may not like what they do. A very big lesson for me over my life was being able to detach from people that you love who are making, how shall I put this? They're making unfortunate decisions for themselves.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And those unfortunate decisions, depending on the relationship, can have absolutely negative impact on you. And it's very difficult for you to separate the agape love, the general love for everyone, everything, and the physical and mental, emotional, the belovedness of that. I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but one of the things thank you. One of the things that I have learned, and my sister was one of my best teachers on this, is although the choices that they make are not choices that I would make for them or myself or anyone else, I have to respect that it is their choice, their decision. I may not respect the decision, but I must respect that it is theirs to make. That's a huge, heavy, and that's worth a meditation or two.
Yes. It's a hard learning, I think, for a lot of people because, you can see people going down a path of self-destruction, and I've been in this position myself, and you want to help that person, but you can only do so much, and then, as you say, you have to separate yourself, right? And I still love these people, but on the other hand, they have their own life, and you never really know what people are going through. So I always try to keep in mind the idea of kindness, which is something that a lot of people over your number 56 episode on this roadshow, the Happiness Roadshow, and a lot of people, and a lot of people talk about how important kindness is, because you never know what people are going through. Doesn't mean you have to participate, or et cetera, as you just described so beautifully. But if we can be kind to that person and give them the space, to, because we're all living spirits going through our journey. What do you think about kindness? How does that fold into gratitude and all the other contentment and the other?
Well, I think it's all a part of the same big fat package. Mm-hmm. Being kind is how you walk through life. And it's important. I mean, being ugly and harsh to everyone is just a reflection of what's going on within you. So if someone lashes out or goes out of their way to be mean or angry, or, I once knew this woman who carried a 2-year or 3-year, I don't even know how long it was, but she carried an argument, a dispute with me without me even knowing it.
Oh,
and
wow.
And also my beloved mother carried a grudge. She never met a grudge she didn't love. And I find that makes a person bitter and sick, physically ill. And it's like, let it go, put it down, embrace that which you, what you're responsible for, take personal responsibility for your role in that. And, I just find it a fascinating thing. I adhere to this philosophy called the Star Now State of Being, and actually I wrote the acronym for STAR: Surrender, Trust, Allow, and Receive. And honestly, part of that is being the fascinated observer, which means pay attention to what's going on, but don't let it absorb you. Don't let it, you can be a screen door about that, and you can just let it pass through you. When I lived in the Southeast, I used to euphemistically or laughingly say that I was living there as a sociologist, just paying attention, watching everything, but not becoming part of it. And that saved me from, a lot of heartache living in the Southeast. And also it proved that just surrendering and not allowing it to take over you. And that actually relates to what we're dealing with these days in modern America. Certainly what I'm seeing is so much ugliness on a certain level. And I just remind myself that really I'm not seeing anything new. The light is shining more brightly. And so what do you do? My mom said, good Lord, you turned on the light and this is what's there. You got to sweep it out. And that, for me, is the best way to deal with this, because everything is temporary. Everything changes. It's the nature of life on this planet. Nothing stays the same.
Yes.
And the only thing that you can count on is change, right? Hang your hat on change and let everything else look.
I love this: surrender, trust, allow, and receive. And the acronym is STAR, which I think that is beautiful. I wanted to repeat that for our listeners. Just keep the idea of stars in the sky, however you think of stars, and it means surrender, trust, allow, and receive. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And the other thing I want to ask.
Yes, go on.
Go ahead. Because I know that you're a wonderful singer. You're into singing in Santa Fe. I've heard you with David Geist. And indeed, you do tell a story every time you sing. So could you talk a little bit about just what music and singing and how that plays into your own happiness and your joy for living?
Well, I have to say that the most joyful thing that I can think of is singing and watching people light up. And standing at the piano with David Geist has to be one of the happiest moments of a day for me. You want to talk about happiness? As a singer who was trained as a singer with a piano. The first time I worked with David, he invited me to come up, and actually I went up to Pronzo, and we really did meet at the old El Faro Blues Jam, and he invited me to join him at Pronzo. The story that he tells about our meeting is absolutely 100% authentic, and because I'm more of a jazz singer, and he's Mr. Broadway, I am dragging him towards jazz. He drags me into Broadway, and we create this absolute gumbo of really interesting. And we've been working together so long that we're at a point now where he can play anything and I can follow him. I can sing anything and he can follow me. And it's such a symbiotic type of thing that I think we're able to bring really, we could sing the same tune over and over and it'll sound differently every time. I have, may I do a shameless plug? I have been playing with David Sampson, who's a masterful guitarist under the moniker of DuoDiaz. And we had a series last summer at Tumbleroot on the outdoor stage, which is really so lovely. And they've invited us back this year to do our series again on the Tumbleroot stage. So we're very excited about that. And I play with my High City Jazz buddies, and we mostly do swingy stuff. And I love and I get to sing with the Santa Fe Great Big Jazz Band, which is an honor and so humbling. And I'm there every other month with them. And I will be there next in, April, next month. And we alternate months. So you want to talk about happiness? It comes from the gratitude of being able to be a part of these ensembles and bring joy to our audiences. That's my entire objective. It's not about me. It's about my audience. And if one person comes away from that feeling happy or feeling slightly uplifted, mission accomplished.
Absolutely. Could you repeat the guitarist's name? Because I think I spoke over that name. I don't want to lose that. So,
his name is David Sampson. Your DuoDiaz.
David what?
Sampson.
Okay, David Sampson.
We call him Sampsonic. And he's fantastic. Okay. And he now has a wonderful trio. And, I'm just like, I am so grateful to be part of that community. It's just, it's extraordinary. Yeah. And really the music gives me the happiness and the joy because it comes from the gratitude.
I can hear it in your voice. Your voice changes as soon as you started talking about singing and, being in the jazz world and the Broadway world and working with David, the two Davids, right? David and Geist and David Sampson.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got my David.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And you've said so many marvelous things that I know our listeners can pick up on. And it is also my idea just to let people hear what other people are doing to make their life happy. And again, I love the STAR idea: surrender, trust, allow, and receive. And I was just wondering if you have any last thoughts or ideas. We have a couple of minutes, sir, that you'd like to leave with our listeners.
Apropos STAR, for those of your listeners who might remember the most remarkable poet and musician, his name was Sylvester Stewart, we call him Sly Stone, and he wrote Everybody is a Star. And Joni Mitchell wrote We Are Stardust. So if you can remember that you have that inner sparkle, everybody has it. Some people have just forgotten to look for it. So dig deep, find one thing to be grateful for every day, and that will lead you to absolutely uncontrollable happiness.
Thank you so much, Sara. You've been fabulous.
Oh, it's been my pleasure and my joy. Thank you, Sandy.
Weekly Keys to Happiness, number 15. Get into nature. Spending 30 minutes or more a week in green spaces can help lower blood pressure and tendencies to depression. Your green space could be your neighborhood park, your own backyard, or a rooftop garden. Anywhere you can appreciate some nature and fresh air. Better yet, add some outdoor exercise for an extra happiness benefit.
Newsflash, please sign up for your copy of our Keys to Happiness at sandramcknight.com. Thank you for tuning into Season 3 of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And if you enjoyed the conversation, please help spread the word by sharing with your friends and family. And don't forget to catch up on any episodes from Seasons 1 and 2 that you might have missed. Before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Sara Diaz, for sharing her happiness story. And to share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast, send an email to sandra@sandramcknight.com.
Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong.